So whenever you're trying to use a concatenation functions, what happens is, as you are using aggregated function here or any string functions, the column name is not available. So that means I can use my as keyword in order to give alias name. If you remember, alias name is nothing but giving something like a pet name to the column, or for the presentation you want to give some name. Okay, by giving a alias name, it doesn't mean that you are really changing the column name in the table. No, this is only for the presentation, or for someone to understand what it is. Okay, so serial name underscore name combined is my keyword. Just like that for fun, serial number underscore name underscore combined, which I want to show as a column name because it's not, I'm not able to understand what exactly it is. It says no column name. So let me run this now. You are going to see as a column name, serial number underscore name underscore combined. Now it is going to be called as a column name because earlier there was no column name. So always remember, whenever you want to give any alias name to your columns, because whenever you're trying to retrieve some data from different systems, the column names are not really proper, right? We always try to rename so that it can be more readable and presentation mode for the end user. All right, so I somehow managed to combine it the way I've done in my Excel, but again, there is no space. There is no space if I'm not using anything here. Let's try to go again back to Excel. If I'm not using anything, Monty Excel is looks like a single word, but I want to ensure that there is a space between Monty and Excel. Okay, when you are narrating a story also, you have a different word. So you are not going to combine as a single word, right? So here also same issue. So I need to solve that problem by using comma underscore, commas, double quotes, and commas. Okay, let me use that and let's see if it works. Let's go for the next line so that I can make it differentiation. So use comma operator here in between these two names and use double quotes and double quotes. The way I'm using Excel, I'm trying to learn the SQL also, but let's see if it works. It's already started showing up errors here, but before it's really throw me an error, I want to understand what it is. Invalid column name. It is thinking that within the double quotes, when you're giving something, it is thinking that is a column name, but actually double quotes are not supposed to be used in SQL. So then what quotes I can use? Use a single quotes, right? Now you can see the difference, the way you're working for the Excel and SQL is getting little differ. I'm using a double quotes because Excel understands only double quotes. In the SQL, it will understand in the single quote. So use as much spaces you also, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want that many spaces. Now, once you run it, you will see that space is being created between that. Not only that, you want to give a special character, no problem. You can give a pipe symbol, something like that. Okay, or exclamation symbol, and you run it just for fun to see how the name displays. Now you can see exclamation symbol between the serial number and the name. That's how you are going to use the concatenation. Use whatever the different combinations you want to use and see. You can use multiple column names can also be added. Okay. Now that it is understood, like from table, if you want to combine everything into by using a concatenate, how to combine. But let's try to see if you are just giving a name, okay, within the parameter without using the column name, how to use it. I'll just copy this and I'll go to my SQL. I'll paste it here. So I want to copy again this concat here. All right. This time I want to use concat and close it. Why I'm not using from table name here? Because I don't have any table. Simply without using a table, how to just put your information and try how you are going to combine it. So again, the same mistake. I need to use the concat here. That is single quotes when you are using in the SQL. So single quote, here single quote again, and here single quote. That's it. We are good to go now. So when it converts into a red color, that means you can understand it is going to be a text information. So again, there is a problem here. If I notice, I thought like everything is over, but it's still showing an error. If you try to place your mouse pointer here, it will show an error. Concatenate requires at least 2 arguments. Of course, 2 arguments are still completed, but it's not giving me the right result. The thing is, the way you work in the Excel, you are going to give the ampersand symbol in order to combine two words. But in case of SQL, we are going to use plus symbol. All right. So when you use a plus symbol, that means you are telling SQL that you are wanted SQL to be combined these two names. So let me run this. Okay, the concatenation functions requires 2 to 54 characters. So what does it mean? Okay, here we are trying to give manually two names. So that means when I'm using a concatenate function, how it works, it should work only with the comma there, right? So let me remove everything. And simply use comma there and try running this one. Now you got a Monty Excel as a single word again. So when you want a space, what you do? We use this and use the space, as many spaces you want actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But exactly in the middle, I want to use something like maybe a pipe symbol. All right. So now when I run this, you are going to see the result is going to be Monty Excel. No, I'm not going to get anything from the table. I'm trying to use my own text to see how to combine. All right. Now let's try to see the next combination without any concatenation function, the way we worked in Excel. Okay. In Excel, I have not used any concatenation symbol, concatenation formula here, concatenate. I have not used it. Without using how you're going to combine two words, the way we have done in the Excel, let's try to see that now. This has to be removed, of course. Okay. Now I want to see how to combine this, but if I run this, okay, it's trying to understand as three different columns, which is dangerous because your intention is to combine them the way you combined in the previous one. This is what we are expecting, but this time without using a function, right? So in that case, what you need to do is just use, instead of this one, use plus symbol. Okay, that's the first thing. Instead of this, use a plus symbol. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm using plus symbol and use space. In my case, I used to use ampersand in my Excel. That's how it treats in Excel. But here, this time I'm using comma operator here. Okay, comma operator with a plus symbol. All right, so exactly the way we are doing in Excel, I'm trying to do in the SQL, but unfortunately, I cannot use the ampersand symbol. That is what we understood. So in place of ampersand, we are supposed to use a plus operator. But before that, let's go back to my function again. What my function says is we need to use always a comma operator in order to get this to be combined from the table or normal text. Here also, I'm trying to use the same style, but unfortunately, this will not work. Let's see. If I run this, it will not work. It's saying like there is an error somewhere at the comma, right? So what does it mean? When you are using a plus operator, there's no need to use comma anymore because already you are combining them. Where's the question of using a comma there? So let's try to run this now the way you want. Okay, special characters you want, just use anything within the single quotes. Always remember, whatever you put in the single quotes, that's going to be printed as it is. That is what the string is all about. So try to ensure that what you are giving in the single quotes. When I run this, you're going to write as a Monty Ash Excel. That's how the concatenation works. So we have seen 4 different models. The first one is pretty straightforward, but that is using concatenation formula. But this is somewhat is not giving the right result. It is giving a result without the name. So I given this column alias, and alias is nothing but additional name. Okay. Giving a pretty awesome name for your existing columns because we have a serial number and name combinedly. We don't have any such column in your table. So we are giving your own name here. That is serial number. The next one is concatenation I'm using, but how to use a space between your first name and the last name along with the alias name. That is what we have seen. And here I'm still using the concatenation symbol. At the same time, how to use a special characters by passing your own text. Here I'm not referring any table. There is no from context here. From table, there is no from table. Only just testing how the concatenation works with my own text. Here in this example, I've tried to see the way I work in Excel without using a concatenation formula. Can I still try to combine two different words? I'm succeed. That is by combining two words. But unfortunately, I cannot use ampersand symbol because ampersand symbol is something which is being used only in Excel. All right, so let's try to see the next example, that is left function. Okay. I know pretty well how the left is used in Excel. Let's try to go back again. We have something called Monty Excel here. Let me try to put here so that we can see clearly what I mean. Okay, we have something called Monty Excel. Now, what I want from this is I want to use a left function to get something. What is that something? Let's see. Left is a function which is going to take number of characters and as well as from which text. Okay, which text? What is your text? Is this text, comma, how many number of characters you want? Left means from Monty or Excel. Let's try to see that. I said 3 letters. When I close the bracket, you will see MON, that is from left for the computer, from left, you're going to see MON, which is going to be written. So in what cases we try to use this one actually, pretty awesome functions which we have in Excel. But what is the advantage being using in a SQL? It's the same concept. Here also we are trying to clean up some data because we got some data along with the PSID, along with employee ID and with some special characters. You want to remove all those and you want to extract only the information what you need. It's a kind of a cleanup, right? Sometimes you try to get information from right side, from left side, sometimes mid. Okay, middle. So that is the left function. Let's try to see what is the right function. Will it be different? Yes, of course. But this comes, let me put this here. I want, instead of left, this time I want to use right. So when I use right, which letters is going to get it? That is CEL from the entire word. That is the entire Monty Excel being sitting in a single column, it is going to get. So that is left and right functions. Let me just make it as a right. Now that we have seen, so let's see if it works in the same fashion when I'm trying to work in the SQL Server. Okay. So I'm going to use select and I'm going to use left function. Within the left function, I want to use the name as a column name. And I want to say, I want to give some keyword. We can give it later, but let's try to use a from. Okay, from which table? That is student data. So what you're trying to do is the same style what we used in the Excel, we are trying to use a combination. But here there is an additional parameter which I need to pass. That is how many characters you are looking for. So let me use comma here. Okay, let's assume I don't know how many parameters to be given here. So when you open left, it is going to give you a tooltip box. That is your Bible here, right? Anytime if you're trying to do some kind of a learning which you never used it, just open the parenthesis, you'll find a beautiful tooltip information which is going to tell you how better you can utilize this function, what are the parameters to be given. So I've given name as a column, name is a column name there, and I want to go for 4 characters. So let's close this and run it. Obviously, you'll not have any column name there. So if you see Neelima's doom bit not to be Neil and the path pin, okay, hard to read the names. So this is how you are going to use the left. So can I use a simple text and see? Let's see. The way I used in Excel, Monty Excel, that's it. There is a such table? No. Let me run with only a text. Yes, still it works. So that means I'm trying to show you 2 different ways. That is by using a column names of your table. Sometimes for just testing purpose, I'm trying to use my own text to see how it works. So either 2 works, but in the real time, we always use the table names, right? But initially when I'm learning, I want to check with giving some text. When I don't have a table also, still you can check all these functions, how it works. So that is about the left one, which is going to work. But at the same time, I want to give a special name for this as new name, maybe. When I run this, you'll get the column name as new name. Okay, as a new name, as new name, left function, something like for fun. So let me run this. You'll get that as a header name. Please do remember whenever you use the as keyword and after that, whatever the naming convention you are giving, that is only for the presentation sake, but you are not really changing the table name itself. Okay. So that's a good part. Actually, you're not changing the table name. If you want to change the table name, we know already how to use alter command to modify the column name. So that's about the left. So immediately I want to learn the right so that I will not forget. Let me go for right here. So if I want to use right function, let me copy and paste. Here I want to use right. Here I want to use right. So when you run this, you'll see result little different because from the right side is trying to get all the full letters. So let's see. All right, so left, right. So by using these functions, you can really make awesome cleanup in your tables or in your Excel sheets. So let's try to see the next function, that is select the command. I want the table name again. Let's see data, L-E-N-G-T-H, data length. We have some a function which will find you a data length. Let's see what does it mean and how it really works. So data, L-E-N-G-T-H. If my spelling is wrong, it's gonna give you in a black color. So whenever you see any text in black color, that means a user defined. So when you get in the pink color, okay, that means this is the correct function which you've been using. Let me not use anything here, just data length. I want to find the length of some text. Let's see. That is single quotes, Monty, Excel. I want to see data length of it. So let's try to run it. You'll see 11 characters. Excellent. So if I give spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's run this. 15. So that means data length is trying to count not only just text. If it has any spaces, it is also counting. So that is what about the data length function. So whenever you want to find including the spaces, then this is the best function to be used. So when I'm using a data length, so let's try to use another function which I know in Excel, len. When I use len, what happens? It will try to give me what is the length of your text. So let's try to count 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is counting with spaces, that is 11 characters. So let me give spaces 1, 2, 3, 4. It is giving 15. So that means it works just like your data length and length works the same way, right? It's not giving any different. But data length considered trailing spaces, length also considered actually, that is what it's written. But let's see. I'm using as a len function here. And this time, len function without spaces. Let's try to see 2 examples here. Len, run it. So 11 is the correct word, count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 should be 20. What it is counting down. Now let me just remove again. It's exactly 15 the way Excel is giving. But if you give some spaces at the beginning, let's try to see again. Okay, let's go for the back side. That is from the right side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means 11 plus 5. Okay, 11 plus 5 is not expecting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 16. $11. So what we have understood is this will consider spaces as well, right? That's the difference between the length and the data length. Both are finding the length, but one function is working without the spaces, one function is working with the spaces. Now let's go for the next one. Okay, by the way, so we can also find the length of your total customers who are in the table. So no doubt you can use simply name as your column name from the table, that is student. And here I want to say the column name as count. Okay, count is a keyword, right? So you cannot say count EMP. So let me run this. You'll see these are the names. The first name in the list I remember Nilima, so which is a 7-letter. Next we have something else. Then 8 characters. This. So you can see all the count of those names. All right. So this is basically the second way. What I'm showing is from the table. This is without the table. So just learning purpose, do whatever the fashion you want to learn. But finally, we in the real time will always try to use a column names symbol. So next one, let's go for the next one. That is finding the spaces. Okay. Generally, what happens is most of the time in the Excel, you will not always getting the data very clean and beautiful, right? So either you will have a spaces from the beginning, or you will be having a spaces from the right side. So what does it mean? So when I use space, let's say Monty Excel, enter. Okay. So when I try to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces, let's assume from when you are trying to download and when you are trying to put in your Excel, this is how you got the data. And when I use spaces here also, okay, now if you see, this is the size of your data in your Excel actually, but not exactly Monty Excel, but you also have spaces. So if I want to clean up this kind of a data, what I will do is simply I'll use trim. Trim is like haircut, doing from the both the sides, all the sides. So once I say enter, you'll see that it has removed completely. Let me make it space special value so that you can see really is there any space. Here I have spaces. Here I don't have any spaces, no spaces. So that means by using a left trim function, I can do trimming from all the sides, from the left side and as well as the right side. So that's how the trim works. Let me use the same trim function in my SQL. I want to understand, is there existing? Is it different? Okay, let's copy it, run it, and let me not use this simple text so that you can understand it. Trim. Okay, by the time you understood, it's giving me an error and it's not converted into some color, right? It's showing in a black color. So what does it mean? When it converts to a black, it's a user defined. So that means there is no trim function in the SQL. There's no trim function in the SQL. That means, how do I manage this cleanup? Because these are the most common situations which I come across in the organizations, the kind of data which is flowing in the market. So how you're going to clean up something when I get spaces before and after, right? So let's assume two cases. That is, we have space at the left side. Okay, I'm talking about left side. So we have something called left L trim. Okay, the function name is L trim. So L trim, what it does is, without this, let's try to see first. When I run this, you can see there is a space actually. Let me copy this and put it in Notepad or somewhere. You'll see there is a space, right? And let me run this without a space and copy this and come to your Notepad and paste it. Now you can see the first one is with spaces and second one is without spaces. So here I want to give spaces again. I was just trying to demonstrate if you have spaces, how it looks like. Run it, you have spaces. Now, if you want to remove the spaces from your entire column, give the column name, but I'm just trying to test with this one. The way we have used a length function with the column name from the table, here try to use ltrim as a function before this Monty Excel and run it. What happened? Just copy it, go to the Notepad, and you'll see that the text is, the empty spaces is completely removed. Okay. What about if I have a right side, will it work? Run it. It's not working actually. It's not showing up, but there is a space. So let me show in the Notepad. Now you can see there is a huge space after your Monty Excel, but here there is no space. But if I put my cursor here, we have this much of space. Okay, so what we need to do here is in this kind of a scenarios, we need to use, we have this space. Now we have at the right side. So use, this is ltrim. Let me go back to the same position again so that the node should not be disturbed. Okay, this is ltrim, which is working fine. Now I want to use right side. From right side, I want to trim it. Now by this time, you already guessed, yes, it is our trim. Okay, so that means from the right side, I can remove all the spaces. So this is not L, this is R. So here also not L, this is R. When I run this, from the right side, it has removed. Now, most of you might have this question in your mind. With a simple trim function in Excel, I'm able to remove all the spaces from the left and right. But here I need to use a different functions. Of course, that's how it is built. But what if in the scenario we have where we have spaces that is before and after, nothing but right and left. So left and right spaces. How to remove? That's a question. So this kind of situation you will definitely come across. Now I want to remove left as well as right. So can I use left and L trim and right trim both at once? Let me see. L trim. Open the bracket. As I open two brackets here, the way you work in Excel, the same case, just close it. And when you run it, you'll see that it has removed the spaces from both the left and as well as right. So you can use in the combination. You also want to remove and you want to find the length. That is also possible. That is, after removing everything, you want to find the length of it. So let's try to use len here. Okay, len, and just close it. Okay. There's a multiple functions you can use within the combination in order to make your data as clean as possible. As keep telling you, in the real time, you'll not be getting the data which you are trying to download from the different legacy systems. Maybe the data will not be clean. So you need to clean up the data like this. So that's it. Now this is a left. Let me remove everything that is len. Let me remove because the header is different and this is different. That's it. So we have removed the spaces from the both, that is left L trim and R trim. As I said, we do not have a function which can single function which can remove spaces from the both the sides. That's about the removing left and right. So let's get back to the next one. So that is lower function. By this time you already guessed it right. A lower will just lower the text. So we have something called lower. Okay, exactly. We have in Excel as well. So when you lower, this is upper. Okay, let's try to make this as an upper because already there is upper. I want to make this proper. What is the proper? Nothing but a camel case. The first in the Monty, first letter is M. So that will be in caps. And in the Excel, E is a cap. So that means every word starting with will be uppercase, rest will be lowercase. That is simply a proper case, right? So let me take this example. That's it. M is a caps, E is a caps. That's a proper case. Now, it's good in Excel, but how it works in the SQL, that is what we wanted. So select lower. Lower is there. Yes, it's there. When you open the function, let's say name for that matter. Okay, let's give the table name itself from student data. Okay, I want to select all the data in a lowercase. Possible. Everything is converted to a lowercase now. Let me try to use upper. Okay, so that means this lower will become upper because I wanted to use it. Upper is also there. Fantastic. Let me run both the things. Both the queries at once. I'm running both. So that means two window output. So one is completely lowercase, uppercase. Fantastic. Just like your Excel, there's no change at all. But what I'm gonna miss here is my another function called proper. So let's see, select proper. Okay, there's no such function existing here, proper. There's no proper. Actually, when you place my mouse pointer, it's just telling you, boss, this is not existing. It's an invalid column name or invalid function. So that means there is no proper as a function in your SQL. So what does it mean? That means, can I not use, if I need to, if I want to convert some data into proper, is it not possible in the SQL? Yes, possible. For that, you need to start learning writing your own functions because I'm not really writing any my own functions here. All these functions are predefined. This is a built-in functions which are available in the SQL Server or any relational database management system. But there is no proper. Proper means proper function is available within the SQL, so there's no such function. How to do that? You need to write your own function in order to create this kind of, that means a predefined function, and one is user defined function. User defined, the one which I'm going to write my own. So to write such function, we need to wait for some more time. We'll park this question and we'll try to answer in next upcoming session. So for now, there is no such proper function in your SQL. Let me save this. All right. So the next one is we have seen L trim, R trim, lower, upper. Then the next would be, let's try to see how to use a replace function. Very interesting one. Replace. Okay. So let's say select replace. Yes, it's there in the list. That means existing. Monty close it. Now, what I want to replace actually, without looking at the tooltip box, I close the brackets. It's very bad. So you need to just look at what it is trying to tell you. Once you open the bracket, what it is trying to tell you. You need to give an expression. Okay, let me give the expression here. MONTY, Monty is my expression. Monty is my expression. Once I say comma, what it is asking you? It is asking you under this Monty. Okay, let me take a table name only so that you can understand better this. I want to take a name from your column, that is your table name, comma. Let's assume there is a name called Arvind. It's already there. Okay, which I wanted to replace in my table. In my table, I want to say A dot Arvind. So that means what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to replace. What is replace? Let's try to see in Excel. Control C, Control H, this, Control C, these are all have spaces. So let me take this one. Yeah, let me take this one. Control H, paste it here. You want to see Monty Excel space Excel in life. So that means wherever you find Monty Excel, just replace with this Monty Excel in life. So it's done. It's done, right? So it's as good as what you're trying to do is you are finding a particular word or a sentence in your Excel and you're trying to replace with something else. That is what the replace function is going to do here. That's what I'm trying to find a name column from the name column, rather. This guy want to change to this. Let's put very clearly Arvind Kumar from which table? That is student table. That's it. When I run this, you'll find wherever you have Arvind as a name in this table. I'm sure it is pretty sure it's only one. Let's see at the bottom, do you have any such names? No, it's only repeated once. So wherever you find Arvind will become Arvind Kumar because that's how you want to replace the way we have seen in your Excel as well. If you want to search more letters, more words, more sentence, try to give more parameters. That's a key. So replace function. Let's try to see the next function called space function. I'm not really sure why we have space function, but practically I've never used it, but there is a function called space. Let's see the importance of it while writing it. Select space. Do you have space? Yes, exactly. Space, I want to give it takes an expression. So let's say 3. Okay, let's say 3. If you have a table, give the table name or else simply just 3. And let's try to select this. What it is doing actually, let's try to copy this. Though it looks like empty, what does it really mean? You can see 1, 2, 3. 3 spaces it has given. That's the functionality of space. That's how you're going to use it. Okay, from the table if you have. Now let's try to use from the table from student data. All right, so when I run this, you can see it has created from the table all the spaces. So let me copy this, anyone. Okay, it's just giving you 3 spaces in your entire column. So ideal scenario, we are all here to clean up the data, but not really giving some spaces in and disturbing the data, right? So we will never try to give spaces before the name and after the name, which is not ideally correct, but there is a function here. So that's about the space, how we can use it. We have seen it. So let's see the next function called str, which is nothing but str function, which will try to round figure your result. Okay, round figure your result. Actually, this should be in the numeric functions. We'll see there because let's have all the string functions here. Then we'll move on to this numeric functions. Let's see one more important thing, which is a substring. Substring function plays a very, very important role. You might have seen even in the Excel. Substring will basically function allows you to extract some information from the given string. Okay, let's try to see how it works. Select, I'm saying Arvind Kumar, that's a name. Then once I say comma, again, there's a problem here. I want to learn with the parameters, which I'm missing again. So what you do is always, whenever you're writing, just slow down, write it, just open the parentheses and try to read from this context. That's a great help actually. It's trying to tell you, try to provide the expression and as well as provide the position and as well as how much length you want. So let me paste here the name, and I want to give the position as 1. Okay, that is a starting position. Sorry, that's what the second parameter. You can see it's converted to a bold color, and I give the next parameter, which is called as the length. That is 2 characters I want from this name. All right. So substring function, when you're running, you can see this is what the result is. AR, it is taken. That is starting from first position, 2 characters. That is AR. A is 1, R is 2. So that means 1 stands for the position from where you want to start, and 2 stands for the number of characters which you want to retrieve from your data. That's what about the string data type. All right, so these are the most common functions which you are keep using in SQL in order to clean up the data. We have seen the concatenation in different styles. We have seen the left, we have seen the right. We have seen by using the column names or without the column names also. If you don't have any table, still we can practice this by giving just your own text. We have seen how to find the length of it, how to find, how to make, this is something new for us because we've been using Excel. In Excel, it's a simple trim formula will make the trick. When I'm not sure whether the text having a spaces before or after, still trim works. But here, you need to be very clear. If you have a left spaces, we need to use the L trim. If you have the right side, we use the R trim. So that's how the L trim and right trim works. But at the same time, if you are not sure, and if your data is going to consist of spaces before and as well as after, always better to use in combination. That's how we have used in one case. Where is that? Yeah, yeah. And next, as usual, lowercase exists in Excel and as well as in SQL standard language. And we have upper, just like in Excel, but proper was there in Excel, but is not existing in a SQL. That's what we have seen. No such function. We'll see later when you're trying to create your own function. Okay, we are parking this question. We are not going to miss it. Select a replace. We have seen how replace. Just imagine just like this. What we have seen practically in Excel. Control H. You will try to find which word and with which word you want to replace. That as simple as a space. I didn't really like this function because there's no much importance of this. Actually, you can see you want to give spaces for no reason. The last function is a substring. Substring is also plays important role when you want to extract some position. Based on the position you want to extract the date. Substring I can compare as simple as that with the mid function. Okay, left is getting from the left, right is getting from the right. Mid will get from which starting position and how many letters you want to extract. In such scenario, substring will comes handy. So that's all about the string functions. But let's go back to the script what you have written here. So we have talked about string functions. Now it's a time to learn numeric. Plays very, very important. You need to, you love it or you hate it, you need to understand these functions because these are the only tools available. Those are the only functions available which help you to clean up your table just like that. All right. So after numeric functions, we'll see date functions, and there is a very important conversion functions. We also try to cover the conversion functions. So these are the 4 basic functions which are available in Excel: string, number, date, and conversion functions. So let's try to concentrate on the number functions now. So for that, I need something called, let's go down. This is called as numeric functions. All right, so numeric functions. Let's start with the numeric functions now, and let's try to be mastered in next 30 minutes, trying to explore as many as examples possible. Let's try to put all the list of functions available. All right, so in the numeric function, the very first function comes ABS, which is, as you know, absolute value. Let me go to Excel. Okay, we have something called 1, 2, 3 here. I want to use the ABS function on this 1 to 3. Let's see what happens. Okay, there's no change at all. Let me use -1, 2, 3. It gives here same number again. But by removing that minus operator. Okay, that means whenever you find some numbers which are in negative format, that will be converted to a positive format. That is what the ABS functions does. So basically, ABS stands for absolute. So absolute always try to convert without any minus factor. It will try to convert the make it a positive, and positive number will become positive number. So only negative number it's trying to convert to a positive. So it will not, the positive numbers will be untouched. So let's try to use the same function here and see how it works. Select, you want to use 1, 2, 3. Okay, before that, I want to use a function ABS. So ABS, what it takes actually, an expression which is going to return that type. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and close the bracket. And once you try to run, you'll be finding the result as 1, 2, 3, 5 only, because as we just understood, positive number will be a positive only. But what really it going to make difference when I'm trying to run a minus factor here. So when I'm running this, it will show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is positive. Positive to positive to positive. So that's what it is going to do. Let me put in simple words, negative to positive. Okay, simple words. So this is how it works, but let's see, will it be the same situation when it is having a float number? What do you mean by float number? Float number is nothing but when we have some decimals, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again as a decimal, we have a dollar amount and we have a cent value. So that means when I run this, what the difference is going to make? Nothing. So let me put the same for this one as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me run it. The negative will become positive, but the decimals what you provided will also be the same. You'll not find any much difference. So let's see if I'm trying to use some any mathematical operations by using a ABS functions, how it works. Let me copy the same thing again. Just go for it. Minus, I'm trying to use positive number for instance, and let me remove this as well. We have seen how it works with the decimals. Let's try to use a simple number here, 25 dot 65 multiplied by, okay, some number 1. So when I'm running, this is not negative actually. This is with multiplication. Okay, so I'm just trying to do what, a positive number which I'm trying to multiply with a positive number. So let's try to run it. So 25 in let's try to, so obviously it's the same number. So 25 into 2, it will be 51. All right. So when I try to copy the same line and paste it here, this time I want to use -2. Okay. Just trying to test this scenario, how the output is going to be, because this time you used minus, right? So minus, will it make any difference? It's still multiplied because minus, it is trying to convert to a positive, right? So obviously you'll get the same result, 51.30. Let me run both. Yeah, both the results we can see on the screen, both are same, 51,351. So ABS knows only one thing, just converting positive to positive, negative to positive. That's what the ABS function does, negative. That's it. Okay, so this is about how we can use ABS functions in your SQL. So let's go for the next one. That is a ceiling function. So what does ceiling function does is basically it returns the smallest integer. Okay, I'm just writing in short, integer value that is let me put this way, greater than or equal to number. Yeah. So basically, ceiling function, what it does is, as you can see here on the text, what I've written, returns the smallest integer value greater than or equal to the number, okay, equal to the number. So let's try to see how the ceiling works. So I'm using again the select statement to select and see how it really works. So for that, I'm using select a ceiling. Okay, it's existing, converted the color, right? I open the function and it is expecting me to give only one parameter. So let me give some positive number here for the first time, 32. When I'm trying to run, what it will do? It is trying to give you 32 there. Okay, simply ceiling, it doesn't have any decimals. So let's try to see with the decimal this time. 32.65, some random number. So when I run this, so let me give the output as well. It's going to give you 32. What the result I'm going to get for 32.65, it should be 33. Is it? 33, yes. So when you are trying to run a ceiling with negative character, how it works. So I'm giving minus 32.65 by using a ceiling function. As you know, the ceiling function is trying to find the smallest integer value greater than or equal to that number. So this time minus. So how the result is going to be now? So being 32 is a primary number and 65 is a decimal. So I'm expecting the result will be 32 only. Okay, it's going to be 32. So the first two digits it has taken, being there is a minus operator, it is still taking the minus. It's still taking the minus operator, okay, and displaying the number. All right, so the next example would be, let's see a round figure number, okay, that is without any decimals, but a minus factor. So how this is gonna be treated now? Obviously, I'm expecting the number would be minus 32. So let's see the result. So let me run all 4 sequences and I want to see how the result is going to be. The first one is telling if you are giving me 32, I'll give you 32, right? If you're giving me 32 point some decimal numbers, I'll give you 33. So that means it's trying to find the smallest integer value, which is greater than or equal to the number. So the next one is ceiling. Is this time I've given the same number with a negative character to see how it works actually. So it's giving me 32, that is minus 32. Obviously, because we have used a minus there. And the next experiment, what we have done is by not using that cents value or decimal value rather, it's giving the exact 32 itself. So that is about the ceiling, how it works, and it's really useful. Let's see the next function, which is going to be round function. Now, what does round does? Let's see. Let me write some text here so that you can understand. The round function returns a number rounded to a certain numbers of decimal places. Now you already know what is round, which you've been using in Excel. Now let me not go to Excel because it's the simplest examples actually. Select what it will round, let's say it practically by using multiple options here. Round, I'm using 125.315. Then comes a next parameter which we need to provide. So let me say 2 here. So I'm using 125.315, comma 2. That's the position. Then I'm using a third parameter here. Let me go back again, just remove everything. I want to open the bracket and see what happens here first. 125.315, that's the first parameter. That's your expression, what you want to do. And next I'm giving just comma, next only precision integer value, which I'm trying to provide. I'm not providing the third parameter. Let's see what happens. I'm closing the bracket here as a experiment. The result should be must 125.320. Why? Because we have given the second parameter as 2. So obviously it will try to convert the 315 as it's taking that position that is 2. So let me see the result. It should be 125. Yeah, excellent. So let's see the next example. A round, that is this time 125.31. Let's try to give some additional parameter like 1. Now, what the result is going to be is going to show you Let's start with the 0 so that we'll see the exact difference. We'll try to go for the next query with one option and see. So this time I've given the 0 as a result. So it's going to give same result. I'm still worried. Let me run this. First one without parameter, second one with parameters. So that means I want to ensure that even if I don't provide the third parameter, by default, it is going to be a 0. That's what I want to prove with this context. First line is giving me 125.320. Second one, though I've given a third parameter as 0, will it give me the same result? That's what we are trying to experiment here. It's giving the same result. That means the third parameter is default. By default, it's going to be 0. If you are putting some higher number, then then comes the real difference. So let's try to see some more experimentations in this. That is 2, 1. Now, if I don't use 0, this was the result. If I use 0, the same result, because 0 is the default. If I use 1, what happens? Will it give me the same result? 125,310. Now 320. But here, being the